on this week 5 edition of Worst to First. Bryan, joined by Matt and Bass Daddy. We're going to be breaking down all the games per usual, making our picks, and the continuation here soon of our new hit segment, Sucking Ass with Bass. And before I kind of recap last week on that, just as usual, want to cover our record for our picks last week, guys. I thought I did pretty well. Now you'll soon realize that what I thought was good, maybe not so much. Went 11, 4, and 1. And let's just go ahead and make an agreement up front. The tie, we're just gonna cut that off and not acknowledge it because it's just a real pain in the ass if the rest of the year we have to say X, Y, and 1. And it's just we don't need to do that. So we're just gonna cut that off. 11 and 4. The head-to-head record last week. Overall, I'm at a 38 and 25. Matt, where are you at after week 4?
Okay, I've lost what I did last week. I want to say it was like 10 wins or maybe it was 11. I don't know. Something like that. And my total record is, do what?
Probably 10. Probably the lesser.
It's kind of a
honor system.
I think that brings my total record to 37 and 26. If that sounds correct.
Yeah, because you were a little behind last week as well. Yeah, that sounds about right. Bass Daddy.
I went ahead and are we counting that game or?
Well, I would, unless
15-0.
He's lopping it off.
And this
clean.
goes for. Listen, this goes for future games though. If you tonight for week 5, if you want to predict a tie and that happens, you get to count it as a win. So just kind of have that in your calculus.
Maybe it's worth 10 wins.
So
it should be, but I don't.
I'm just gonna say I went 15-1, just because that's the way it scores it on Sleeper. Should have went 16-0 if Green Bay would have pulled their head out of their ass. Perfect week. I've never had one before. I was literally just talking about it a couple weeks ago, like how cool it would be to have a perfect week. I don't know if I spoke it into existence, but my overall record now is 43 and 21.
Jesus.
So Bass has got a commanding lead, like a 5 or so lead. Yeah, I think a 5. Yeah, 5-game lead minimum.
Imagine you put down a parlay, ran the slate, but you had that Sunday night game at the end and got a tie. What happens then? Does that push it? Or do you lose?
You win everything except that line.
Well, that's not bad.
Okay.
That'd still be a good day. Yeah.
Yeah, and without going into the weeds, I mean, now obviously we're flipping it to the next week, but Matt and I lost a pretty significant chunk of change betting on the Packers. And it's just like story of the NFL, story of betting in general. Like those games, you can never be sure. And when you are sure, it's going to splooge in your face. And that's exactly what happened in that game. And shutting down the draft Kings for a little while. At least that's my plan. I can't speak for you, Matt. But yeah.
I woke up with, I deposited $55 on a promo on it's called just FanDuel Pick'ems, where you just pick like over and under on receptions, shit like that. And every week I've been making like 4 to 5 of them, just like little 3 and 5 teams for $3 to $5 each. And I decided to do a few big ones for like $10 because I'd been winning. I had the account built up to like $90. And I woke up Monday morning and had $698 in there. And I was like, oh, it's just some bonuses or something. So I went to the withdrawal to see if it would let me withdraw it, because it wouldn't let you withdraw the bonus funds. Withdrawable amount. Yeah, it was like $698.
Dang.
So I withdrew $600, and I'm gonna play on that 98. So
Bass keeps winning.
That's cool. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
That reception line, that reception is crazy. Like one of the lines is like Travis Kelce over or under 2.5 receptions.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anymore, I think they just feel like more controllable, Like the game outcomes, it's just so many variables, and Um, I guess when you look back at that Sunday night game, it was like that blocked PAT was pretty much what ended up like totally swinging the whole freaking game. And so yeah, you got that going for you, Bass. And then maybe the biggest boon of all, first week of sucking ass with Bass, you in a positive way chose to suck the ass of Jackson Dart. And you look at the stats, it doesn't, if you didn't watch, you'd say, well, he just played very much so a side role in the win over the Chargers, but he lost his number one receiver early in that game, and I think people underestimate just how impactful that is whenever an offense loses a weapon in the middle of a game or certainly early in a game, forcing them to adapt on the fly. But he just kept finding a way against a good defense, kept them in that game till the end, and then eventually they come out on top. And so all the applause goes to you, though. You were the first and maybe only person I heard really calling for that.
Yeah, I didn't hear about anybody else trying to suck his ass. Me. Just going ahead and moving into this week, I'm gonna get off Kelsey's ass a little bit. Am I on mute? Sorry. Okay. This week with sucking ass with Bass, Kelsey, he's off my shit list. He looking good last week, looked more like a good teammate. This week, Justin Herbert. This week, he's on my shit list. He's sucking ass with Bass. Just an absolute shitty performance against. You know what? His coaches suck. They can suck each other's asses. To let DeBall to get beat by DeBall and a rookie quarterback without their number one receiver, like what the fuck? Are you kidding me? So those two guys suck ass. I thought the Chargers, honestly, I thought the Chargers were going to win this division. I thought that they were going to edge the Chiefs out there, but after that, what the fuck? So they suck ass. Now, my positive suck ass for the week, well, it's a hybrid. It's a little bit of both. It's Ben Johnson.
Thank you.
And his interview with Didi, man, I felt that because it's like, to be honest with you, I watch a game out at my grandma's. Such a nice old lady, but when the Steelers throw an interception and she's like, "Well, why did he throw it to that team?" I'm just like, he obviously didn't mean to, I get like that with my grandma. So if I'm a head coach and that bitch is asking me questions, as I'm trying to come out of in the second half to win a game, I'm going to be probably just as pissy with her. But you still can't be like that. But I'm going to choose also to suck his ass because that could make him in a better mood. So, Ben Johnson, you need to do a little better next time. Try and keep your cool, but also get where you're coming from. So I still will suck your ass.
Starting on the Chargers, I like that, and I just as far as the division goes, one thing I'd touch on, like technically they're a game ahead right now, but still down in December lies a Sunday night game at Arrowhead, and that's one where, don't get me wrong, it won't be easy, but if you're the Chiefs, you're like kind of counting on winning that game, which in a way makes it tied right now. They'll have to do the job, of course. So there's that. And then I'm just really glad you brought up the Ben Johnson thing because there wasn't going to be a great spot for it in the show otherwise. I just feel like we're missing, unless you are watching the game, I feel like we're missing so much context. I don't know, was there more said before the video kind of that we've seen it shows? And like I've watched it, it's one of those where whatever you want to hear in your head as far as what she's saying, you'll hear it. So like, I think it's she says, "Do you need to change what you're doing?" If you hear it that way, it comes out that way. If you just hear the "you need to change what you're doing," it
You
comes out
think?
that. It's just weird. It's like this mind trick thing. And so you literally, depending on your choice, will either be pissed at her or pissed at him. It's like
Yeah, fuck her.
the gold or the blue dress thing.
Fuck that bitch.
Yanni and Laurel.
The way he ended it though, whatever, he's like, yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But he backed it up. So I did appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a good win.
Yeah, you also think about it though, from like her into the, what her position is. She has only so many questions that she can really ask. You're like, what are we going to do on offense or defense or whatever? She may have got nervous, tripped up a little bit, and just kind of came out a little bit wrong. I don't imagine she was trying to be straight up condescending to the guy. But man, it made it that much more funny and electrifying, I would say. So, and honestly, it looked like he might, had the interview went on a little bit longer, he might have boxed her. I don't. Do you imagine that?
He might have Ray Rice her.
Dude, he's been on tilt since he took the job. I mean, and it's getting some results, right? They're 2-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see how it plays out.
Good edition, second edition of Sucking Ass with Bass. And now we flip it to the games. Thursday night on Prime. Another NFC West battle. This time at SoFi, the Rams are an 8.5-point favorite against the 49ers. Now, both of these teams right now, guys, are 3-1. But as we know, following this league closely, these are not the same 3-1s. And for the 49ers, more importantly, the announcement today is that not only will Brock Purdy not play, but neither will Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings. So it's going to be the walking wounded on offense. Kittle, to my knowledge, he's still out, right? Look, I've laid the framework. I think this is going to be a fucking ass kicking. I don't see how the Rams, for one, they're going to be up for it, right? McVay, Shanahan, both these guys. This is a rivalry. But when you have the deck stacked against you like this, you're on the road, it's Thursday night, short week. Somebody tell me how the 49ers are going to put up points on this defense. I can't see it. That's why they're a fantasy defense of mine this week. Give me Rams 24, 49ers 10. Mac Jones.
I get you there 100%, Brian. You're right. I think that before this game's over, we could see the LA Rams second string quarterback in. And that's Jimmy Garoppolo. So that would be pretty funny, I think. But give me the Rams 33-12.
Romping. Boys, I think the X factor going in this game, obviously the Niners dealing with plentiful injuries, per usual, maybe a little bit earlier than normal, but, it was bound to happen sooner or later. Let's take it back to last week real quick, guys, when Robert Salah got into it with our boy Liam Cohn down there in Duval, because I believe he made some sort of allegation that he was one of McVay's boys. He's going to be stealing some signs or something like that. And, I guess Liam, said, hey, I don't really appreciate that very much. And then I don't exactly know how it was put into words. And then Salah was like, I will kill you. I will literally end you. And McVay's got to take that to heart too, right? Because, it's kind of, he's catching a little bit of stray there. So he's going to want to crank it up on the old Niners. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do, guys. 29-18. They get it done pretty easily.
Good call there. Good link, Matt. Clip that. I hadn't put that together. You're right. And I think you're right too, Bass Daddy. I think Jimmy Garoppolo takes snaps before this is over, and it ain't going to be because of an injury. Sunday morning, we're back overseas in Tottenham for yet another Vikings game. This time taking on the Browns. So an AFC North opponent, but one of much different class. And Dylan Gabriel announced to be the Browns starting quarterback here for week 5. The Vikings are favored by 4.5, even though I think we can already see the Carson Wentz experience is going to be quite the roller coaster. And talking about the Gabriel piece, guys, I think that's the big key. Feels kind of early. I mean, I know Flacco has played poorly, but I never really thought week 5. Like, I thought this would be like a week 8, week 9 type thing. And if we wanted to go deeper and down the road, and I don't know that it's worth it, this might set the framework up for like another replacement eventually, Shador that being. I feel like they're going to want to see what they have in all these young quarterbacks. But ultimately, I don't think it's going to be particularly good. And if you're Dylan Gabriel, uh, hooray, kid! You get a first start in the NFL in England, and you're going against Brian Flores Vikings defense, and they're pissed off and they want to win. Don't love it. Give me the Vikings 20, Browns 10. And Bass Daddy, you can never be too sure, but I'm about as certain as I can be about this game.
The thing is with the Browns that you mentioned about Flacco, I really don't think it's early. And this is why. Only because in this league, you have to have a quarterback starting under center that can, to be successful in the NFL, you have to have a quarterback on your team that can drop back in crunch time, drop back in the pocket, notice man coverage, notice that nobody's accounting for him, beat the blitz, and be able to scramble for maybe 30 to 40 yards. You have to have a mobile quarterback that can, you have to have one, whether it's to sneak or you get what I'm saying. Flacco's not that. And to be honest with you, the Steelers don't have one of those either. And that's going to be a problem later in the season. But Gabriel adds that extra factor, I guess, of being a little bit more mobile, maybe being able to use his legs a little more. But Minnesota's defense is going to eat his fucking lunch. Give me Minnesota 23-9, and I think that 9, that might be a touchdown defensively, but they're going to give him hell.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe at this point, the Minnesota faithful may be like, you know what, just leave our boys over there. If we want to tune in at 8 in the morning, we'll check it out. If not, you know what, we'll pretend like it didn't happen. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in Minnesota as far as things develop with our boy Carson. I think he can play better than he did last week, but that's yet to be seen, especially coming up against that tough Cleveland defense, which, let's be real, absolutely rocks. That defense can keep them in a game with anybody. So if they had like a halfway competent offense, you never know. And I'm thinking maybe that's why they decided to go ahead and pull the trigger here. Like maybe one of these rookies is our answer. I personally don't really think they are, but what we have to lose, right? So I'm going to take Minnesota to win this game 23-17.
It's a good point you make, Matt, about that defense. They do keep them in games. And at this point, it's just a matter of is the offense going to rise up enough that they can start being competitive? They're not out of this yet. Like if Dylan Gabriel took the league by storm, they have a real shot with that defense to make noise. Or does the offense continue to suck and eventually the defense just, kind of gives up one of these days, one of these weeks? Time will tell.
I just seen a highlight or just a little clip of Myles Garrett after one of his sacks last week, and I just got to thinking, like how do you fucking feel, you stupid bitch, taking all that money and you're.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd had to go to a different team, I think.
Yeah,
Different.
Go ahead, Bryan.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, you go ahead, and then I'll follow you up.
Well, different personalities, but it's basically the Joe Thomas of the defensive side of the ball. Like you spend your whole career in Cleveland potentially, and you never win a playoff game. We'll say. I mean, he has won a playoff game, but never any deep runs, right? I don't think that's in the future.
Yeah, it's kind of similar vein there. I was just it kind of bummed me out last time when he was making a stink like, hey, get me traded, I'm out of here. But then he just sells out for obviously a very handsome sum of money, but it kind of does suck to see, I don't even think it's really that arguable. One of the best pass rushers of a generation, just be stuck in Cleveland and not really do anything with it. So I'm with you.
Sunday at noon, the Colts are back in Irsay's house. No word yet on if the roof will be open so that the old man can keep an eye on things. And coming off their first loss of the season, they'll take on the Raiders, who are as cold as about any team in the league right now, guys. It's a 7-point spread for the Colts in favor. I'll first hand it to you, Matt. Any opening thoughts about this matchup?
Yeah, I'm not overly excited for this matchup. I'll go ahead and start with that. The Raiders, I had higher expectations for them going into the season. And, after week 1, I was like, well, they look like they could, be a little dangerous. I'm starting to think that's not the case. I think Geno maybe played out. I think, sadly, Pete, however old he is now, 78, 79, 73, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is he washed? Do you think? Or is it a Raider effect?
Well, Is it Pete's? I get what you're saying. Is it Pete's fault that Gino is turning the ball over at an alarming rate? Probably not, but at the same time, it hasn't looked the way that I thought it was going to. Like I just thought, yeah, they might be 1-3, but they're going to be like a tough 1-3.
Yes.
And by the end of the year, I was thinking they might be 7-10, but it's going to be a team that you don't want to play. Like they're just going to beat your ass. And it really, man, it's just been more of the same. It's Max Crosby gives the quarterback a hard time, and everything else is just kind of laissez-faire. And so, building on that, I am taking the Colts to win the game. And building on my picks before this, the score, I got another team very low here. Raiders only get 7 points, Colts 20. Gino, yeah, we might see Kenny Pickett play. Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. But before the year's over, if he can't turn it around, we might see Kenny Pickett play.
That was literally what I was about to say. I was like, the Raiders have been so sad at this point. They're going to turn to Kenny Pickett. And I don't think of a fate, Bass Daddy, I'm sorry, that is more sad than that. And that's going to be, just depressing for everyone. And in saying that, I'm with you, Brian. The Colts actually may be good. I think, they had the Rams beat last week. I'm going to take them to win this game 29-17. And you know what? I don't care what the weather's like. Open it up. I want Lucas Oil open up every game.
Regardless of hail,
Yes.
it don't matter. Tornadoes,
Lightning.
I want it open.
Absolutely.
Right. With the cloud to ground, yes, we need it
Yes.
open.
Yes.
Indianapolis needs a big bounce back this week. I'm also thinking that the Raiders are just a pile of shit. I was happy that Genty was able to produce a little bit for some of my fantasy teams this week. Indianapolis gets right this week. I don't know how well they're going to be later on in the season, but they have home field advantage, and there's an advantage playing there. 30-20, Indy wins.
All on the same page so far through 3 games. We'll see if that continues. We take it up where Romo and Nance will call from Philadelphia. 4-0 Eagles host the Denver Broncos. The Eagles a 3.5-point favorite. Both teams coming off of wins. Monday night, guys, I had high hopes for that game. I said on the show last week, Bengals, after the embarrassing loss to Minnesota, they'd come out, they'd play with a ton of pride, and they may not win, but they'd at least give them a bout. And that it was more of the same. And that's a whole separate story we can cover another week, quite frankly, if not later in the show. But on the Denver side, you take what you can get. That's clearly their best game of the year so far. Bo Nix looked a little more comfortable than maybe he has, despite the one really bad turnover. And I don't think it is off the board that they give the Eagles their first loss. Matt, how do you feel about that statement?
I'm not confident in that statement. I'm just going to tell you straight up.
That they could. I'm not saying that they will.
They could.
I think
they absolutely could. Because, I will say
Yeah.
this. The Eagles have been susceptible pretty much in every game thus far. And let's be real. There's some problems there, right? It's no secret. All the receiver drama that's going on, all the behind the scenes of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith just looking like, I don't know, their best friend died. And, they're just not getting the ball. They're tweeting out Bible verses that we're applying to football. And I don't know. It's just a lot of drama going on in Philly per usual. And it feels like if they, don't start getting those 1 to 2 plays a game that kind of swing things in their direction, that ship could really take on a lot of water. And it'll be curious to see how it develops. But in saying that, Denver, I know it was kind of a get-right game with Cincinnati, but I think Cincinnati is so done. It didn't really mean a lot, right? Ever since Burrow got hurt, they've just kind of mailed it in. That defense was already terrible. So I don't think there's a lot we can really take away from that game. I do think the Denver defense will give Philly some fits and keep it close. But I think in the end of things, Philly still finds a way. They find that 1 to 2 plays, like I mentioned before, 23-17. It's kind of a nasty game.
Yeah. Denver looked good the other night, but I'm still not sold yet. Need to see a little bit more consistency, which that's why I'm going with the Eagles here. And also with it being in Philly, that's that's not a cakewalk either in terms of an easy place for a young quarterback to go in and win a football game. I just see more playmakers on Philadelphia's side of the ball. Um, Philadelphia comes out on top, 26-23.
Yeah. Look, honestly, I'm not in love with either one of these teams for obvious reasons. I'm going to root for the Eagles, which is tough to do, but I don't feel great about it. I mean, I look at the matchup, Matt. This Eagles offense right now, stealing a stat from our First Things First crew over on Fox, they're third right now in terms of percentage of drives that go 3 and out. They're at 34%. So one of every 3 drives, they're going 3 and out. And against this Denver defense, I just feel like with Pat Surtain, that secondary, they can load that box up all day long. Like, I don't think they have to, you know, he can go toe to toe with AJ Brown. Like, it's not going to be a situation where he gets dominated. So, can they load it up, do what basically everyone has done so far, contain Saquon, and then what happens? And at home, I think is actually kind of a bad thing because if they start having a bunch of 3 and outs, we know what that crowd's going to do. They're going to rain the booze down. And so I'm a little worried about it that way. I'm not picking Denver because I don't trust Bo Nix to take advantage of those opportunities, but it's very much so on my radar that they might just go in and steal one. Give me the Eagles 21-16. It's ugly still, you know. It still feels like Flex Seal, but a win's a win.
Mm-hmm.
In a much less interesting game, we go to New Orleans, the winless Saints, but scrappy. You know, they're playing hard. They had Buffalo kind of there till the end. They host the Giants, and the Saints are actually favored by 1.5, even though the Giants coming off of their big win. And I saw you open your eyes wide there, Matt. Well, let me take you down this road. I said
Please.
it on last week's show. Now, obviously, I was wrong in that, like, the Saints put up a very valiant effort at Buffalo, and I didn't expect that. But I mentioned there's going to be a game eventually where they feel like this is the one that we can win, and they're going to unload the clip. I haven't looked at the rest of the schedule, but this has got to be the game. Like, you have to win this game if you're the Saints. Get it out of the way now before Halloween, because once you get past that, if you're still winless, we're in trouble. You know, things are getting hairy. Guys are starting to think about wherever they're going to be on a beach in a couple months. And so, yeah, I'm going with Spencer Rattler and the Saints, 23-20. Giants letdown spot. They're trying to figure out life after Malik. How do you feel about it, Bass?
I'm right there with you. Old man Lonnie last week or week 1 said that he's been to about every NFL stadium, and he mentioned that New Orleans was the loudest he'd ever been to. I don't know how much louder it's going to be week 5 for the 0-4 Saints. I still think it's going to be loud. They're faithful, but there's going to be a get right. It's going to be loud in there, and for Jackson Dart, he ain't going to be able to make the different. He's not going to be able to communicate at the line of scrimmage with his guys and make the right calls with that kind of crowd noise. His second start in the NFL. It's a whole different game, I think. And obviously without his receiver, without Tracy. I still think it'll 23-17. New Orleans puts a win in the tally, or a tally in the win column. Matt, what do you think?
Kind of surprises me, Bass Daddy. You know, just last week you were tonguing down Jackson Dart. We've already moved off of that. It was a tongue and gun. You're out of there.
It was, and I was right, and I'm moving on.
I respect that, a man that can cut it off. That simple. A hit it and quit and moving on. This is neither going to dig into my pick too much. And this may sound dumb to the NFL audience, guys. Who the hell is Tracy? Who is that?
Philip Tracy?
New York running back.
Who?
Philip Tracy? Is that what you're talking about?
Is that who we're talking about? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I genuinely don't know. I paid such little attention to the New York Giants.
Out.
I know.
Yeah,
who is
he's out.
That? Who is he? Is he good?
he was pretty good. I mean, he was fine.
Racing running back for the New York Giants.
What's crazy, dude, is I don't even know who that is. I don't know what's going on. It's like I've been Men in Black. I'm like, who is Tracy? You're like, because Bass Daddy keeps mentioning him. Like, well, I get Tracy back. And I'm like, who is that? I'm like, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a rough
I'm
offense.
sure I'm going to look stupid for this. I just had to get it out there in the open because I couldn't go on any longer without knowing who this guy is. But anyway,
I don't
guys,
think we really told.
you think I would know, but I mean, I guess I haven't really watched any Giants football at all where he's playing. And in saying that, guys, anyway, you kind of wanted me over with the New Orleans thing. I do kind of think they're going to win this game. Neighbors being out, I kind of forgot about that a little bit. That's going to be, I feel like that's going to loom over this week, maybe more than it did last. But with saying that, I had already picked the Giants. I'm going to ride it out 20-17. They do get it done.
And I feel like for our audience, that's when you mark down, like the Saints are going to win. Me and Bass Teddy, we've been slightly ahead of you all year, Matt. It's because of games like this.
You just swung it in the Giants' favor. I'm putting it all on the money line. Giants money line right there. You jinxed it, brother.
All right. Hey, this next game, it lacks sizzle. It's not exciting in terms of some of the ingredients, but you could probably argue the stakes are higher in this game than they are for any other. Houston going to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson tracking to not play. He, along with many other Ravens, as we know, mostly on the defensive side. And then on the other end, it's the Texans who did win. They were only up 6-0 when the fourth quarter begun last week against Tennessee, but they kind of went on a run. Can they build on that? Look, obviously, if the Texans are going to get back into the mix, they have to win a game like this. You have to be able to beat this depleted Ravens team who is not even going to have the quarterback. Can they do that? I don't know. I kind of toss and turn with this one. It's keeping me up at night. Bass Daddy, do you have a feel? Maybe I can borrow from you.
Man, this is a tough game to pick. Tough game to pick here. We've seen Cooper Rush play in Dallas, obviously, but Houston just looks like shit. I think that this Baltimore team with a pocket pass, the only thing that worries me is the edge rushers on Houston. The edge rushers on Houston can cause an issue. But I'm going to go with Baltimore here. I still think Cooper Rush, he's got Hopkins. He's got Flowers. He's got Mark Andrews. He can throw to Hill out of the backfield. He's got Henry that needs a bounce back game. I understand defensively, you haven't got Stingley, and I already mentioned the edge rushers, obviously, but I think Baltimore does just enough. I think that pocket presence in Baltimore, I think Cooper Rush might throw for 280, 300 yards and 3 scores. He might have 3 interceptions. I don't know. But I think that I've got Baltimore winning 21-20, and I think Cooper Rush still has enough to get it done with Baltimore being at home.
Yeah, excellent points there, guys. I've heard a couple differing reports on if Lamar was going to play, if he's not going to play. And I don't know what to believe, to be honest with you. I really don't. So I'm going to give you a score with and a score without Lamar, because I think that's fair to do. Because, I think our audience needs to know this in case the decision gets made a little too late. Houston, that offense is unbelievable, unbelievably bad. I mean, the only one worse than that is that Tennessee offense, right? And here's the thing. Baltimore, they need to get it right a little bit. I don't think they're as bad as they looked last week by any means, but we'll see. It's kind of one of those games that could kind of loom and break a team. So it's going to be pretty crucial to see how they bounce back here. Houston like their defense. And saying that though, with Lamar, 27-13, kind of a romping, because they're also going to have last year's Christmas Day game in the mind of the Houston Texans players. Pretty rough. And without Lamar, 16-13, just a classic Ravens matchup there.
I could honestly see if Cooper Rush started this game, I could see them winning, and them. I'm not sure who they play week 6, but I could see Cooper Rush looking good enough to possibly relieve Lamar for an extra week of rest or so. You know what I mean?
They do have the Rams week 6, Bass, but the bye week follows that, which would probably be a point in your favor. Like, Do we give him that and the bye week type of thing? They would need to win this one though, because if they lose here, you're staring 1-5 in the face with the Rams. Like he's probably going to have to find a way to play if he can. Um, guys, I hear all you're saying, and I think offensively the Ravens have enough to be in this game. My bigger concern now, even against this anemic Texans offense, is like it's not that I expect them to light the world on fire, but now with the Ravens presumably starting this game without Roquan, without Humphrey, without Wiggins at corner, so 2 corners, their linebacker, they're still going to have D-line issues. At some point, I think it's got to tip the scales enough, and I don't know. I guess I'm picking the Houston Texans to win a game where it just feels like they should. It feels like they should. They probably won't. But anyway, give me Houston 20, Ravens 17. And so they do cover and win in my book.
Bold.
Big matchup here. Cowboys, Jets. Now, is it that big? I guess the Jets are 0-4. Dallas, of course, 1-2-1. And they're a 2.5-point favorite at MetLife. I think this could be very entertaining. Look, I think any game with the Cowboys this year has potential to be very entertaining. It's kind of like if anybody's going to have a shootout, it's them. I worry about them a little bit containing Fields, his legs, but Dak's playing at a really high level. We know this. And even without CeeDee Lamb, we saw like him and Pickens have developed rapport. He gets Turpin involved. He gets Tolbert involved, Ferguson. So I think this will be a fun game to watch. Dallas wins because quite honestly, they need to. If you look at their schedule the rest of the way, this is about as easy as it gets by a long shot. And so they need to bank one. 27-24, them boys. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the Cowboys are electric television because good offense, solid offense. They put up points, and their defense allows a lot of points. So who doesn't love some fireworks? They're kind of a Big 12 team. I don't know if they intended to model after that conference, but that's what they are. And the Jets, they're not like, it's weird. For a bad team, they're like frisky. They're always in it, and they're going to push the team to the brink. And I think they're going to do that here with the Cowboys, but they're also going to fall a little bit short. 30-24, Dak gets it done.
I'm gonna put on the wolf hat, but that the Cowboys are just a team that it's really pissed me off last week. And the thing, Justin Fields is going to rush for over 100 yards. Breece Hall is going to have a good game. Sauce Gardner is going to be on Pickens, and if we know anything about Dak, he's going to be trying to force shit all night. He's going to turn the ball over a few times. I'm not saying Fields isn't, but the Dallas Cowboys are going to continue being the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones is going to keep coming up with his weird shit, these weird excuses and shit that he comes up with. New York beats him this week, and they're going to beat him in a shootout, 29-26.
Whoa, bold.
Bast day, I can definitely see it. New York, they burnt the bridge Monday night. I went out on that limb, and not only did they let me down big. Speaking of which,
I seen him week 1 against Pittsburgh and our defense and New
played well.
York, and with Fields starting. Yeah, I seen how they looked then, and I know that we should stack up a little better than Dallas's team. I think we're a little bit better coached, so I'm hoping that Dallas gets their ass beat. This is wishful thinking.
Like
Nothing
the
wrong with that.
transient effect? Is that what you're talking about? That kind of thing? You're like,
The what?
The transient effect of the Jets beat the Cowboys, you're like, well, automatically the Steelers are a little bit better. Is that what you're thinking?
Right.
Got you.
Yeah, that's what I need. Yeah.
I hear you.
Guys, the Dolphins get in the win column, and now they head to Carolina. You know, there was talk after they went to 0-3. Hey, look at this schedule. There's an opening here for them to get back in the thick of it. And wouldn't you know it, Panthers, they continue their Jekyll and Hyde. You know, they win one game 30-0, come back the next week, get blown off the field. And so this is a corner TV game, and I don't have a lot to say about it. Hate to see what happened to Reek, you know. If for no other reason, he just made the team watchable, and now I'm not so sure that that's the case. But still, yet, I'm not picking the Panthers to win any football game. They're just too lousy and inconsistent. So Tua, he gets Waller and Waddle going and A-Chain, and they win 28-20 best.
I'm gonna probably put on the wolf hat again. But
Hey,
something that I thought was crazy, the post game interview with Tua, is he was just like, yeah, thank God for keeping us all safe tonight, and this, and meanwhile, Tua's, his legs hanging off the bone. His career just ended from a gruesome leg injury, and he's just at the end of the game, just really, on
that
cloud
was weird.
nine. Yeah, I'm picking Carolina this week. I think, I don't know. I just feel like Tua's just going to force a little bit too much. Carolina's at home, which ain't too. I mean, hell, there'll probably be just as many. There'll probably be just as many Miami fans there, but Tua's still got some brain damage. Carolina wins this shitty game, 24-19. Maybe Chuba Hubbard gets going, and that's what I've got, man.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say about Tua. I was like, maybe he suffered a little bit of a light concussion somewhere in that game. Because there was that one play where he started to slide and the couple defenders like went right over the top of him. It was interesting. But yeah, it's a bummer about Tyreek, no doubt about it. You know, if that is the end of his career, it's crazy. It seemed like it went by in a flash, and that's kind of his style. Got a point?
Pun? Is that like a pun? Seemed like
Oh no.
a mean-spirited pun.
Yeah, no. When I said that, I was like, oh yeah, I guess it's a lot how he played. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, and I know he's in Miami now, but it's still, you hate to see it. Carolina, last week I started to dig them up. I started to uncover them because I was like, maybe we did it. We did it again, like we did with Washington the season prior, where we're like, all right, we picked them to go to the postseason, had a rough couple 2 weeks, and we're like, all right, they're done. And then they turn it back around. Well, I don't think that's the case. I felt like Robin Williams and Jumanji, where he's like finding the board game and he's like uncovering it, brushing the dirt off. I paid the price for that, just like Robin Williams did. It came back to bite me. And the Panthers, no, they suck. They're back to sucking. I'm going to take Miami to win this game 24-17. Boys, I'm going to say, I think this is probably, I hope it is, the worst slate of games all season. I think it is.
It is pretty rough. Leaves a lot to be desired. And as you say that, we flip it to the afternoon slate. There's only really one game on here that gets you mildly excited, and we start with one that does not. Matt, the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Titans. And I know I'm the guy who picked the Titans to make it as the 7th seed, so you can't sit here and say, like, I'll wear that. I'll eat that crow. That's
That's
rough.
going to go down as one of the worst picks of all time.
Well, yeah, last year I caught it. Denver, I believe it was. I got ahead of that, and so I was feeling myself a little bit on those wild card picks. And the worst of it is I knew Brian Callahan was iffy at best. And let me just go on the record right now. You will not hear me pick the Tennessee Titans to win a game until they have a new head coach. Will not happen. Will not happen. And the fact that they're a 7.5-point dog to the Arizona Cardinals tells you the story. In the words of Cam Ward, we ass, you ass. Your team is asked. Cardinals 20, Titans 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main takeaway from the Titans this season is just implementing that new language everywhere and every new conversation I can, like you're like, somebody asks you how you're doing at the donut shop. Well, if I'm keeping it a buck, not that well, not going great over here, but we're doing our best. I'll take a glaze. No, I mean, I don't know, man. This game sucks. The Cardinals, I think they're underachievers. Like at times they kind of suck me back in. Like they're decent. They're decent. Kyler's good. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. The defense okay, and then they have another running back go down to IR every other week. It just kind of is what it is. But I do think they whip up on the Titans. They do not turn it around. 29-17. Cardinals get the dub. Fast Daddy, what are you thinking?
Tennessee scores first, maybe goes up 10-0 in the first quarter, but Arizona's obviously better team. They're going to blow their fucking doors off when it's all said and done. I'm going to pick Arizona here, but I'm not going to pick Arizona very much more until they get a new quarterback. But still, give me Arizona here, 27-17.
Clean sweep. Next game, guys. Big NFC battle between 3-1s. The Tampa Bay Bucks go to the Pacific Northwest to take on Seattle. The Hawks are 3.5-point favorite, and I gotta believe that is like a weighing in the injuries, man. The Buccaneers, somebody turn the injuries off. Somebody. Bucky Irving looks like he's headed to IR, maybe short term, I believe, but so they won't have him. Evans continues to be out, etc. That's frustrating. But if Baker's got a pulse, this team has a pulse. That's kind of been the story so far. And so, do you give them a shot, or do you dare pick them, Matt, against a really good Seattle team on the road?
But they've got a shot, obviously. I mean, Baker's in this game, and I'm just going to tell you right now, it's going to come down in the final 2 or 3 minutes. He's going to have the ball. They're going to be down, and it's going to be kind of up to him if he can scramble around, gain some first downs with his legs, and, find some open receivers here and there. It's hard for me to pick against the Bucks. I feel like they should have beat Philly last week. I know some things didn't break their way, but I think this is a good bounce back spot. Don't get me wrong. I think Seattle's a good team. I think their defense is solid, and Sam Darnold is serviceable. And saying that, final 2 minutes. Like I said, Baker drives them down, and they get some points. 29-27, Tampa Bay gets the win up there with the 12th man.
I just think that you're right, Bryan, with the Tampa Bay injuries. Most mainly, I'm thinking about Rachaad White that's going to be filling in for Bucky Irving against this Seattle defense at home. I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to be able to run the ball that well. Mike Evans is still going to be out, I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know that Tampa Bay has receiving weapons, but I think that the pass rush is going to get there. I think that Baker's going to make a couple decisions, bad decisions. I actually have Seattle getting right this week and winning this game, 33-20. So I don't even have it.
Pretend to have information. It could be fun. It could be really hard. I'm not sure. Depends how loose you let it, I guess.
As you say, let it flow. I mean, we don't have to go by FCC standards.
I got Seattle winning this game,
Like, give me Bass
33-20.
Daddy analysis, you know what I mean? Like what he would do.
Sorry, Bash, you're back.
Yes, sorry about that. I don't know why it keeps kicking me off. But real quick, I got Seattle winning 33-20. I think they really get right. They look good. I got Tampa Bay taking a step back this week.
Yeah, pretty sizable gap. I think you're probably right. I can see there's going to be pressure on Bake. Was surprised a couple weeks ago to find that Seattle's actually been a much better road team the last year or two than they have been at home. That caught me off guard. Something tells me maybe Darnold is the one that sails one high, or whatever the case may be. I just have a feeling he might make that key mistake. And I think it's going to be a great game. I'm picking Tampa Bay 22-21. Just kind of trusting. It seems like they have some, even if it's low-level championship DNA. And but that being said, a huge opportunity for Seattle to kind of like say we have arrived. We are one of the elites of the conference and a real threat. So should be a good one. That's one to keep an eye on. This one, however, not so much. Detroit goes to Cincinnati, and the Lions are favored by 10.5. Guys, the Bengals are a lost cause. We know this. And, I've heard people say, well, what if, are they going to trade for a quarterback? No, they're not going to trade for a quarterback. Mike Brown is not spending any more money than he has to. This season's cooked. And as I said before, the Lions love to chew up on lovely competition. They love to go out there and run the score up on teams like this, and they will. So Lions 40, Bengals 20.
Mm.
Put her there.
Yeah, I echo a lot of those sentiments. I do think it's going to be a romping. I think it's about going to be that point where Detroit's starting to get that respect that they kind of lost in that first week of the season against the Green Bay Packers. Thinking back a little bit, I think maybe that was going to be the overreaction game of this season where the Packers knocked them off early. I don't think that's going to be how it reflects later on as the season goes. God, they've regressed significantly as far on the Green Bay side of things, and Detroit's kind of been that team that we thought they would be, and I think they're going to continue to do so here, and I think they're going to romp them, like you said, 32-6. Lions get the win.
Yeah.
Maybe too close. Is that game
Yeah,
too close?
I don't think
I
so.
could see. No, I think that we could see Detroit's second string. I think we could see Detroit's second string quarterback. Sorry. I think we could see Detroit's second string quarterback. I've got Detroit scoring 34-24 as the final score. And I think maybe Cincinnati gets maybe a touchdown late to make it that close one.
Backdoor cover best. That'll work. That'll work. Okay, guys. Last game of the afternoon window. Brady is going to SoFi. The Chargers are hosting the Commanders. We've got word that Jaden Daniels will be returning. However, Terry McLaurin not expected to play once again. And LA, as we know, will certainly be down their left tackle all this week. So both teams kind of dealing with the injury bug and coming off of tough losses. Chargers are favored by 2.5. Matt, what's your lean?
I think this game is pretty big, honestly, for both teams. Like as far as their season projection goes, is a loss going to break them? No, but I think a win could set either one up where they want to be as far as it goes. Moving towards the postseason. I do like the fact that Jaden Daniels is back. It's going to be interesting to see how the Chargers are able to recoup after last week's loss against the Giants. This isn't an easy game, that's for sure. There's a high pressure with Jaden Daniels, I feel like. If he's able to run, that's going to be the big caveat here. I don't know if we know that or not. If he's able to run, I'm going to say it, boys. I think the Commanders get the win, 27-24. If he can't run, I mean, the Chargers are probably going to pull it back off. But I think we could start to see that teeter in where we start to see the Chargers culture kind of turn back into the Chargers culture a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think we'd see it this year, but after that Giants game, I was like, red flags.
I agree, but I'm not trying to suck Herbert and Harbaugh's ass here, but I'm going to ride with the Chargers here just because offensively they should be able to completely butt fuck Washington, and defensively they should have enough to be able to contain Jaden Daniels. You know what I mean? And Ertz and Debo, but I got the Chargers winning here, 33-27. Maybe Herbert uses his stupid ass legs a little bit.
Key to watching this one, guys. Herbert the last 2 weeks has been hit more than any other quarterback. Now he did play Denver, clearly got a great rush, and the Giants, who might have an even better one. So like that's a big part of it. Can Washington get close to exploiting the offensive line issues the way those other teams have? If they can, I think Washington wins. If they can't, obviously the Chargers will. But what swings the game for me is throughout their careers, although Jaden, very brief so far, he's been a little more trustworthy at the end of close games, in my opinion, than Herbert has. Um, and sure, there's some wishful thinking involved with it too, but I am going to pick the Commanders to win this one 26-21, and that's like a Chargers get the ball late, they need a touchdown, and the pass blocking just doesn't hold up. That's kind of what I'm envisioning. Kind of be the story of the game. Okay. Sunday night, AFC East back in Buffalo. They continue this cakewalk schedule. Okay, that's not fair. This isn't a cakewalk game, but their schedule has been unbelievably favorable so far, and I don't think it gets a whole lot harder.
When I heard, Bryan, earlier after Sunday's games, I did not realize that their opponents thus far, I know the Ravens are in there, and that's kind of a weird thing, have won a combined one game. I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty nuts. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just thought that was insane.
No, yeah, you're right. I guess now Miami would add a second after
Oh,
Monday
right.
night, but
Yeah, yeah.
Miami not much better. Yeah, and look, it's not like they've been dominating those teams either. They've been
Exactly.
in competitive games, and that kind of late, like they're an 8.5 point favorite here, and I think that is absolutely crazy. Maybe not because like it's very likely or possible that it could be a close game, and at the end, the Bills score a touchdown and they win by 10. Like that,
Mhm.
that is very well on the board. But I do not have any reason to believe that their defense can shut the door on teams and make games not competitive. We have not seen any evidence of it. Honestly, uh, speaks to like the whole AFC. Really, like patterns are repeating. You're seeing teams. Last week it was Lamar, caving in a big moment against the Chiefs. And for me, the Bills, the defense, every year they just show a propensity to get ran on. They seem kind of soft. They don't make the plays when they need them. And I feel like this is going to be a stench that carries the whole year through. They're going to win a lot because their offense is so great. But yeah, if you told me the Patriots won this game, I believe you. Still yet, I'm picking New England to cover, but not win. Bills 31, Patriots 27. But don't rule. This is the first opportunity for Mike Vrabel to have a classic Mike Vrabel underdog spot on Sunday Night
Mhm.
Football. He used to do this so well in Tennessee. Maybe he finds it again. Drake's playing good football.
Man, I want to pick New England bad
Me too.
because Drake he's playing great football, but I'm just not doing it. It's in Buffalo. I just can't. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, New England might have the lead going in the fourth quarter. They might have a 9 point lead, something like that. But Josh Allen's gonna use his legs. He's gonna do whatever he has to do because he's just flat out better than Drake May. Just plain and simple. But give me Buffalo 31-27.
Same score. Hell yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have to just piggyback on both what you guys said. You kind of took the words right out of my mouth, if you will. I do think Vrabel's going to have something up his sleeve for this one. Buffalo is very susceptible to pretty much anybody at this point. They've lost almost, at least 3 of the 4 games that they played thus far. And I don't know. I also think it's going to come down to the wire. I think the Patriots are decent. I do think they're probably an above average team, kind of flirting with that line there in Buffalo. Frankly, I think they're good, maybe a little bit overrated at this point. And it like you guys said, close game, down to the wire. You're probably not gonna believe this, guys. 30-27 was my final score. Buffalo pulls it out late.
A close eye on that one. I think it'd be a good game. Obviously, we all do. But we all picked the Bills, and that takes us to the final game Monday night. Duval. The Jaguars are 3-1. Liam Cohen is ready to try to pull his pants down and lay pipe on the national stage. The Chiefs are coming into town. Kansas City is a 3.5 point favorite. Key injury to watch right now, Travon Walker, the defensive end for the Jaguars, doesn't look like he's going to play, and that obviously would be a big loss for them. But yeah, they're leading the league right now in turnovers forced with 13, I believe it is, the Jaguars. Now you could look at the competition. I know Bryce Young's in there. Brock Purdy threw a couple picks last week. Okay, but I think if you're the Chiefs, you're going into this game, you're saying if we take care of the football, we should have no problem winning this game. Like, can anyone really see Trevor Lawrence lighting up the Chiefs defense? I personally can't. Um, he never has before, but maybe he'll prove us wrong, Matt.
I don't think he will. I just don't. I'm not really. I mean, knock on wood here. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence believer at this point. I'm just not. He's had a few years to kind of figure this thing out right now, and so far I've not been impressed. I know the team is doing pretty well overall this season, and I think there's a little bit of some outlier information that's going into that. I do think they're probably better than years past. But the problem is for the Jags here is I think they're going to have to play Kansas City when Kansas City's kind of finding their identity again, and that's going to be tough to overcome. With the reemergence of Xavier Worthy, the offense seems to be kind of pushing the ball downfield, just making some exciting plays here and there. I think that continues, and it's just a bit too much for the Jags in this one. 32-20, Kansas City gets the W.
Yeah. To be honest with you guys, it was real. I mean, I don't like seeing the Chiefs do bad on you guys' behalf, but knowing that if the Steelers can somehow make it to the playoffs, having that in the back of my mind, thinking like, shit, yeah, maybe this year the Chiefs can be a wild card. After seeing how they looked, getting Worthy back, and knowing that Rasheed Rice will be back soon as well, it's scary. Chiefs are looking good. They needed that game last week. Worthy having him back is huge. But Duval just no shitty. Just they're shit team. I don't believe in Lawrence either. I think Hunter's pretty badass. Being able to play both sides of the ball at this level, you got to respect the shit out of that. I'm taking Kansas City to win this game, 33-24.
Pretty close in gap. I got the Chiefs winning it by 10, and I think, I don't know. I think it'll be a little bit of a slow bleed type of game where they just make sure they take care of the ball, try to hit a few plays where they are, if somebody's wide open, but I just think they feel like they can probably trust their defense to control this one, and we'll see. Though I would love to see them continue to put up more points than 27-17. That was my ultimate score. Um, okay,
Having Worthy back, I think the
yeah,
points are just gonna follow.
yeah, that'd be nice, and I do think when Rice gets in there, that'll definitely be the case. Um, but they did it last week. Why can't they do it again? Hard to totally buy in on the Jags defense until they do it against better opponents. If they do it Monday night, then okay, it's the real deal. But
It'll be cool to see Travis Hunter in the main stage as well, right? I haven't been
true.
keeping up with him too much. I don't know what his snap breakdown is on each side of the ball, if he's seeing much on both or not. But it'd be interesting to monitor that under the bright lights of Monday night.
Yeah, I think his issue. He hasn't really made those splash plays yet, but you got to think they're coming. And if they don't, well, they'll probably have to have a conversation about, do we need to, shift him more to one side? But for now, he's playing a lot of both ways, and they'll need it. They'll need it Monday night, I'm sure. That will do it for our Week 5 preview. Guys, anything else before we send the audience into what should surely be a great weekend of football?
I don't think I have anything other than just thanks for coming along for the ride. It's been great having you.
The only comment I've got is I'm going 16-0 this week.
Put the
Guys,
parlay down.
if you back up a 15 and basically a 15-0 with a 16-0, then we're just shutting the show down, and we'll just let you put your picks out every week, and everybody can go on about their business, right? Because you're gonna have it all.
I'll win about.
They're seeing.
I'll end up with like 7 wins this week.
Such is life covering this league, this damn league. Okay. All right. Well, we'll be back to talk about it next week. They're going by fast. Enjoy them while you can.